The PlayStation Plus Game Club is part of the Trophy Talk Network, and this episode of the show is brought to you by our wonderful supporters on Patreon. If you're interested in supporting any of the shows in the Trophy Talk Network, like the Trophy Talk Podcast, the PlayStation Plus Game Club, the Mooglecast, and Surviving the Horror, go to patreon.com/Trophy Talk Network. You can also join the Trophy Talk Discord for free, and it's where you can connect with our community, participate in special contests and events, and write into our shows. Your support on Patreon makes all of that possible. So a special thank you shout out to Chaz Bilby, Rob Stevens, Spencer Van Eaton, Gary Cooper, Diego Juan, First Mage, Super Hans, Faux Rambo, CJ, Ryan Wolven, King K6969, Against Me, Jordan Vickers, and Pat the Trophy Hunter. Thank you again to everyone for your support on Patreon, and with that, enjoy the show. What's up, Internet friends, and welcome to another episode of the PlayStation Plus Game Club. I'm your host, Kevin Garaventa, aka the Portland Kevin, and like a book club, we pick one game from the PlayStation Plus Extra Library and talk about it way too much. Today, we are talking about Metal Eden, developed by Reikon Games and published by Deep Silver just last year in September. In it, you play as Asuka, an android super soldier, also known as a hyper unit, who can dash, shoot, and punch her way through hordes of enemies. Now, if you've seen any gameplay of this, then you'll immediately know that Metal Eden has quite a few similarities to some of the other modern shooters out there, especially one that rhymes with boom. But it's still really good, and we're here to talk about why. So, first up, talking with me today, we have back again from the Trophy Talk Discord, FatePrime. How you doing today? Also known Brady. How you doing?
Either's fine.
Sorry about that.
No worries. I'm doing great. It's a crisp 60-degree sunny day, and I'm ready to talk about electronics' answer to Doom.
Oh yeah. It is actually, we are experiencing a very odd heat wave right here in the very beginning of May, and so this morning my wife and I lugged the air conditioners up from the garage and put them into our apartment. So it's going to be nice and cool in here, thankfully.
Nice.
But also we have coming in after the Grease episode, Kenny Albanese. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking about this FPS that's just an amalgamation of all different FPSs put into one. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really good. I was very excited to talk about it, and I feel like as soon as I told you about it, you were like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally in for this one."
Oh yeah, easy win for me.
Great. Before we start talking about it, though, I do want to throw to you guys talking about any projects you have coming up right now. Kenny, I know you've got a music project in the works still, so you want to remind us what that is coming up?
Yeah, just working on a lot of electronic music mixed with guitar and metal and put together, and it'll be under my name, Kenny Albanese. Still working on it, but have a bunch of work, and it'll be out soon, and it's pretty much done. So just look up my name, and it'll be anywhere on all streaming services. So
great to hear. And Brady, do you have any projects you want to plug right now?
Nothing really. I spend a lot of time on different trophy hunting projects, as I'm sure a lot of the Trophy Talk crew already know, but nothing actually material out of that project just yet.
Yeah. Okay. And how is the Seven Summits project going? Or are you in between mountains right now?
I am currently working very slowly through Gran Turismo 7.
Oh,
I am not, admittedly, I'm not a car guy, and my arcade or my racing game experience is mostly in the arcade kind of Trackmania time trial space. So the real life simulation is it took a little bit to get used to, but I'm almost done with the hardest trophy grind, and then it's just a lot of races and miles to drive until the platinum. So
Oh
almost
yeah,
done.
yeah. Where does this one sit? Like, where does Gran Turismo sit at at the level of like the mountain? Like, how high is this?
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know or may have forgotten, every mountain is 9 games. It gets progressively harder. This is the third game of the second mountain.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a 7 out of 10 if you go to PSN profiles. So yeah, it's lower on the mountain this go around.
Okay. Yeah. So, but what's really funny is you say it's a 7 out of 10, but it's really only the third level, and so it's going to get worse and worse and harder. I don't envy you. That's going to be a hell of a climb.
Yeah. Looking forward to there's some more Crash later on, some Devil May Cry, maybe Ninja Gaiden at the top. So a lot of those, I guess, heralded hard games are coming up. I'm very excited to
Hmm.
get into.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully we gave you a short break with Metal Eden, so I'm very excited to start talking about it.
Hyperunit, confirm your status. Hyperunit, confirm your status.
In the name of duty, courage, and truth, I will protect the citizens.
The citizens dwell in the dark. We are their only hope. Let's strive to make it to the finish line.
Hyperunit is mission go. Prepare for deployment. Mission start in 3, 2, 1. Commencing orbital strike. Give 'em hell, Hyper.
So I always like to start the show off with a few plat shoutouts that we pull from the Trophy Talk Discord because I kind of want to thank everyone for playing along with us. And we, as of right now, only have one plat shoutout, at least when I checked last night. And that would be from Dennis, who was playing and then submitted his plat shot for the race that's happening right now. Nobody else that I was seeing has been playing this game. So, if you're listening and you're in the Trophy Talk Discord, go play this game because it's pretty easy, it's pretty short, and you can get some easy points for the race that is coming close to an end. But still, you have time to jump in and play this game and earn those extra points. Besides that, though, I thought the game was really good. But hats off to you, Dennis, for playing along with us. Thanks for playing. Also, let's get into the show proper and discuss the actual game. First of all, Brady, I want to thank you for playing with me, and Kenny, thank you for playing the game. What were just like your first impressions of this game? Talking about how it looks, how it plays, how it feels in the first few minutes. Kenny, I'll ask you first.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting. When I first started this up, it was kind of interesting. I did two 20-minute sessions. The first time I played it was on a handheld, ROG Ally handheld. It was on my lunch break, believe it or not. I was like, let's boot it up, let's get started and see what it's like. And so I played the tutorial. I was like, okay, like, all right, it's like a Doom 2016 clone. Like, okay, it's okay. Like, all right, it's a little fun, I guess. And so mission 1 goes, and I'm like, okay, like, yes, all right, it's okay mechanics. Like, it's all right. Like, okay. And then like I play it for a little bit, and I'm like, all right, it's okay. And a couple days go by. I'm like, all right, well, let me go to my computer. Let me put it on the ultra wide and get it going, get it real nice looking, and like, let's try this again. And so I start mission 2, and I'm not kidding. 20 minutes later, I am so zoned in on this game. I'm in like gamer mode, like not even realizing that I'm playing this game and time is going by, and I'm not even realizing it. And to be blunt, that's not easy for me nowadays. Like, I'm in my 30s.
Wow.
It's not easy for me to get so ingrained into a game just based on gameplay alone. I was having so much fun with this game, and I didn't even realize any of its flaws or issues, or like the fact that it's just a clone sometimes. But also, I think as you go and you get into it more, you realize that whole clone talk isn't as true as it may seem at the start. There's a lot more to this that I think is a lot of fun. Hell, I think it's sometimes even way more fun than Doom in a lot of times. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to talking about the details of it and the gameplay, because that is where it shines. And I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the word clone right away, because it totally does feel like a Doom clone in terms of like it's really fast, there's tons of shooting, there's a lot of like guns for you to choose from, and you get them all at once. You're not limited to just one or two guns that you can carry like in Halo or Call of Duty. You just have your entire assortment of weapons to choose from, and you can customize those to your like however you want those to play. In customize, I mean like you can unlock upgrades and you choose which upgrades to install on your gun, and then that does extra stuff or has extra powers. And it's really up to how you want to flavor your gameplay going forward. That's one thing that I loved about Doom, and I really loved about this, is that you can customize a lot more than I was expecting. But Brady, like, what were your first impressions of this?
Yeah, so I kind of got stuck in the tutorial a little bit, as embarrassing as that is to say. There's a specific section, and it wasn't like a hard stuck or anything, but you can rip the cores out of your enemies
Mm-hmm.
in this game, and then you can consume them for a punch. I'm sure we'll get into that later. And it's the specific section where they're telling you how to do that. But as soon as you rip the core out, it will stop you and say, "Hey, you can consume it with this button."
Yeah.
And it must have been like 3 or 4 times where I hit the button as it was telling me what to do, but then it stopped me. So instead
Yeah.
of holding the button, it acted like I just pressed it, and I would just throw the core instead of consuming it. But every time it stops you to say like, "Hey, you can consume these. This is how you do it." Aside from that, uh, Nexus talks. My first time through the game, Nexus talks a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was my first impression. It was some like exposition. It's a lot of kind of talking about uh, philosophical discussions and all of that. But it was the game's basically like hallways and rooms. Anytime you're in a hallway, he's going to talk to you until you get to the next room.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time through, it was he talks a lot, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
But you brought up like one thing that I do want to clarify. Like you brought up the idea of like ripping out the core of an enemy, and so like there is a lot to that. To clarify, like we are running around inside this like giant space station cybernetic world, and things look very clean and polished, but there are enemies that are running around trying to kill your character Asuka, and she can telekinetically rip out the hearts of these enemies, and uh, they aren't like beating hearts or anything. They are like hard drives that she pulls out of them, and these triangular shaped flash drives that she pulls out can then be either consumed or thrown like a grenade. And the game first teaches you to just throw the core, and it makes an explosion and kills everything else that it hits. And then you can also consume it, and when you consume it, then you like can punch another enemy as like at like a very very forceful rate, and that will like knock the armor off that enemy or whatever. But the the whole mechanic of like this balance of pulling the core out and then having to either like decide to throw it or consume it, and then you have like this cooldown period of having to wait like another 30 seconds before you can do it again, adds a lot of balance and strategy to this game. So there's like a lot going on, and that kind of thing lends it again to being a lot like Doom, where you have to judge what you're doing at a really fast rate and then figure out what can I do to survive before survive until all of my weapons recharge, and like how do I get there? But you also brought up the idea of Nexus. So Nexus is this AI character that is talking to you throughout the whole game, and he's got a really, I guess, like sort of soothing voice. It's still
Soothing.
electronics, sort of, but like it's sort of like very soft, but in like a supervillain kind of way. And like I'm trying to describe this, but like he sounds like he's an obvious villain for like the whole game, but he's also he talks in like a very soft kind of way. That's the best way I can describe Nexus's voice. Kenny, how would you describe this? Because I heard you were like, "What, soothing?" It's like soothing's not right. Soothing's not quite the right word, but he is like trying to sound very calm and very encouraging to Asuka, but you know that he's also got this evil side to him.
Well, Brady mentioned philosophical. I think that's a good way to put it. He's got like that, like very low monotone, like I'm talking philosophy to you, and he's almost talking circles sometimes, it feels like. But I wrote in my notes, this was probably like one of my first notes. Mission 1, Nexus dude is honestly irritating, kind of cringy voice acting is literally what I wrote. And it's because it's just, he sounds irritated all the time. He sounds condescending. Like he sounds, this is a deep cut, but there's an animator on YouTube called Meat Canyon, and he does very grotesque animations and on like the real world and pop culture and stuff. And like he takes a character and he'll just run it, 100 yards and make it as grotesque and dramatic and exaggerated as possible. And so like he has a character where it's like hardcore nerd, like past nerd. I'm talking to like creepy weirdo incel territory. And like that is Nexus to a T, is that voice. It is 1-to-1 the same voice. And so the entire time I'm just thinking to myself like, oh God, this guy just gives me the creeps, like truly creeps me out, to the point where he even said something. I wrote it down and it really creeped me out. Here it is. He says to Asuka, I don't remember what the conversation was. He's like, it's not more nefarious than going to your weird uncle's birthday party. Like, what did you just say? That was so creepy. I wrote that down. I'm like, that is the creepiest thing I've heard in this entire game.
Yeah.
And he just gave me the creeps. He truly gave me like the heebie-jeebies. I don't know what else to say. There's no other way to put it. But if that's what they were trying to go for, then job well done, I guess.
I get that because especially later on, he starts to sound very abusive to her and sort of gaslighty, where he starts to like shock her with electronic bolts while she's trying to recharge, and he then says like, don't make me hurt you, I don't want to do this, I care about you. It's like, dude, no, this is like Hallmark like abusive relationship right now, and like obviously you've turned supervillain. I knew it was coming, but like again, this is perfectly in character for what I imagined was going to happen. Brady, you were going to say something about Nexus too.
Yeah, it's just like a restraint, especially once you finish the story and things kind of fall into place a little bit. It's like a restrained menace kind of undertone the whole time. I think going on about what like he's talking at one point and he's saying, oh, in my experience, the odds of success aren't driven by like the quality of the personnel, it's the quantity or something like that. Kind of the like just throw bodies at the problem until it solves itself, which is kind of interesting. One of the first things he says is make this run worthwhile. I did admittedly not a lot of research into the game before starting to play it, but it almost sounded like it was going to be a roguelike type of thing.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not. It is by levels, but once you finish the first mission, there's kind of a scripted death. And I think it, just in the story view, I guess, you watch your character get rebuilt off planet and like re-uploaded and then launched back into the next mission. But it's not a roguelike, but I really did think oh, okay, is this going to be, some roguelike type of things? But
Yeah.
Would have worked very well if it did.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
Truthfully.
They had one job. They could have built anything. A fresh start for humanity. You know, a house, a garden, and a dog. But then came corporate strategy, agile development, and resource planning. What did we end up with? The biggest block of flats in the universe.
Okay, so like there are a couple of things that we could talk about, and you brought up the story. This story for me, it was very hard to follow, and I was trying to make sense of it, but we can talk about that for a bit. The What you're supposed to be doing is taking Asuka onto this giant space station that was supposed to be some sort of haven for a bunch of people to live, but they're also storing all the citizens' consciousnesses inside of these hard drives that are somewhere there in this space station. They're like at the very center of the space station, and this space station is hovering in low orbit above the planet Vulcan. No, not that Vulcan, just the random planet Vulcan. And you have to like run around this place, find a way into what they call the prison, and rescue all the citizens. But in a sense, like I guess like gather all the hard drives and then pull those out. They don't specify that, but that's just what they tell you to do. And that's the whole game, is trying to get to the center where the prison is and rescue the citizens. It like that's all I can gather from the whole story. And the end is really weird, but was there anything that I missed in describing the story?
There's a lot more, actually. Yeah, I did dive in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd happily love to see what I wrote. I wrote down quite a bit about the story at the end, Mission 8. I put a bunch of story stuff down, and I'd love to
Okay.
talk about it and see what you guys have to say about it. But essentially what you said, yeah, you're getting the Apex cores, is essentially what you're doing to then get to the prison and then unlock the prison. You also have to remove the erosion field to get to that prison, too. That's kind of the main thing.
Yeah.
But you learn that this whole game is about Project Eden. Project Eden was a way to create this world where humans can then excel and live by taking their consciousness and putting it into a drive, which that drive can then be put into a husk machine. It's basically Marathon, if I'm being blunt with you. Like when they were rebuilding the character, I was like, oh, this is just Marathon. It literally is taking consciousness and beaming it into a husk. That's Asuka. It's Marathon to a T.
Yeah.
And so the Project Eden was made by 4 engineers, and that's Nexus is one of the engineers. Overseer, I forgot what the 4th one is, and then Asuka
Observer.
is also an Observer. It was another
Or
O
the
I couldn't write
Architect.
down. And so those are the 4 engineers that created Project Eden, and Asuka was one of the engineers, but she was beamed into a husk, which was supposed to be the Guardian, which was supposed to be who guards these civilians in this world that they created, that these 4 geniuses created, apparently. But it all fell to shit because of greed and egos and erosion, and so it just all fell apart, essentially. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think she's going in to then just fix what failed and save the people. That's where it falls apart with me. I don't understand past that of like why
Yeah.
all 4 of these engineers are involved. I kind of understand the cutscene at the end. There was some dating involved between Nexus and Asuka, I guess.
And then
But it falls
there's a
apart after
moment.
that.
Yeah, there is a moment early on in the game where Nexus tells this story about how one time 2 engineers came to kill him, and then you see that kind of thing happening at the very end in the final cutscene. And I thought like, oh, after playing it a second time, I understood like, oh, he's talking about those two guys at the end who hit him a couple of times in the back room of a nightclub. And like at first I thought, oh, they were sort of defending Asuka in this nightclub because they saw this guy kind of creeping up on her. But in a sense, like they were attacking him for some other reason. And then while he's lying on the floor beaten up, he gives Asuka this core that she's been, trying to gather up and rescue everybody from. And then they all gather together as like the four engineers and say, okay, we're all ready, we're all together, we can now beam up or like do something and end this whole thing. So it was very, I guess, like abstract, and it was that's what made it harder for me to follow. But I kind of got this idea that that she was in a sense trying to gather up these four engineers' minds to then meet together and all say, okay, no, we need to all end this project and leave. But again, I'm just theorizing because I was having a hard time following the story. I was just having fun shooting stuff.
Yeah, that final cutscene is just a mess because you go through your final boss fight. We've kind of already mentioned like, okay, Nexus is evil, and you get throughout the story as you get more of these Apex cores from the engineers, you get little like snippets of memories of certain things, and then everything kind of fits together. And you recall that like Asuka was a giant robot at one point, and she had some confrontation. It's such a weird thing because Nexus says something like, "Oh, I thought you were with me, and you brought a bomb." And then that was, it's such an odd because they like kind of just get into some sort of altercation. The bomb goes off, and then you get this other cutscene in the club. I didn't know if it was like a symbolic thing, like these four were together, they got into a conflict with Nexus, and now they're together again, or if it was like this cycle keeps happening of Nexus kind of strays from the four of them or from the other three, and they have to like bring him back, and then they can go on and do things.
And to remind you, like this confrontation that was happening between Nexus and Asuka before this bomb went off, they were both these giant robots fighting each other, and they just like Nexus freaks out and says, "You brought a bomb to this," and that's when like what they refer to as the erosion bomb goes off, and I guess it's supposed to be like this thing that's like super nuclear that destroys almost everything. But it doesn't destroy the whole station. It's just like it wipes out all life on the station. And the only thing that's left are the cores that all the citizens were being housed in. All the husks were, I guess, either destroyed or most of them were destroyed. And now the ones that you're fighting are just what's left over. Again, total guess. Like that, just what I can glean from theorizing about stuff. And what we've been talking about so far. But like it's so abstract, it's very difficult to follow. And we did mention that there are a few other engineers that are there, but you only talk to them briefly. One of them being the Observer, and I feel like sure, Nexus's voice can be annoying. The Observer is a very annoying version of the same actor trying to do his Joker impression. And it's like, oh no, you're just going for the Mark Hamill Joker right now. That's all.
That's even worse. That's not wrong. it was the same voice actor though, right?
Yeah.
It clearly was.
Yeah.
That was the aforementioned creepy uncle that Kenny mentioned.
Yeah, maybe that is the creepy uncle.
Okay, so the Joker impression checks out then. Anyway, Brady, do you have anything else to talk about for the story?
No, I mean the story, you're getting, it kind of just drip feeds little bits of exposition and stuff, and it's pretty interesting. And then honestly, I think they were kind of like, we need to wrap this up what are we going to do? And then that's what the cutscene kind of turned out to be at the end.
Yeah.
This is only, I guess it's worth mentioning, this is like 8 chapters and a prologue. I think they could have very easily gone to 10 and it would have been totally fine. I feel
Yeah.
like by the end, not just story wise, but also progression with your upgrades and everything, it really, you kind of get into the flow of it and you're kind of comboing and you're doing little games of rock, paper, scissors and kind of moving all around, having a grand old time. And then 2 more encounters happen and the game's over.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's very quick.
yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like this is almost like this is sort of a proof of concept, and they want to build on this for a further game. But speaking of that, like just one last thing about the story, the ending, like the actual end, the last thing that you see is just Asuka floating out in space. And I guess like her husk is dead after she's like retrieved all the cores, and she's just sort of floating away from the space station, and you hear a voice saying something about how we're ready to retrieve her. And then you hear Nexus's voice come back and it's undistorted. So this is like the actual human version of Nexus saying something like, be careful with her. She is very special. And
Oh, it
like,
was Nexus. Okay.
yeah. And I was thinking to myself, okay, what the hell is this guy's deal? What is going on? Like, you guys don't need to be even weirder now. But it was just, it was a weird way to end a very weird game and a weird story.
See, 'cause I wasn't sure if it was Nexus at the end because I assumed it was, but I had subtitles on and it said I
Yeah.
think it said like unknown voice, and so
Ah,
I assumed that's who it was, but I wasn't sure. I just assumed they left it on a cliffhanger of like, well, maybe there's more content to come, and we don't
Yeah.
know who this is. So,
or maybe it was like it. When I say it was Nexus, like it could have been his human version, and what
right,
we were working with the whole time was his AI. So I
that's
don't
true.
know. Yeah, yeah. Um, so that whole thing about the story, like beside that, like the rest of the game is fantastic. I do want to mention the graphic style and how everything looks, especially during those cutscenes. It looks incredible. Like when you have Asuka getting rebuilt and stuff, and then she gets launched at the station, and you see her flying through this tube, and the lights reflecting off of her helmet and her suit. It looks incredible. Like what? Just talking about like how this game looks, it really looks fantastic. Brady, like how did you notice anything about this? Like were the graphics as striking for you as it was for me?
Yeah, absolutely. The cutscene, and there are a few cutscenes that play out, and they're all really. I thought the character design of, I guess, the operator or the observer, whichever one it
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
the like parasite guy, the creepy uncle that we talked about. And you walk into this room, and you just see you can't like even make it out. It's just kind of this orb, I guess. And he turns around and he's sitting in this chair, and it's like a seemingly like an old man with a bunch of tubes in the chair and all of that. And
Yeah,
he starts interacting, and it's like a really kind of grotesque in this pretty cyberpunk, like robotic type of world. Seeing just that character design was really striking for me.
yeah,
And I love how you mentioned Vulcan, and it's kind of a mining operation at first. So in certain areas and certain levels, you get into kind of this like smog almost of the area,
hmm
and it's almost this like watercolor kind of foggy environment that you're running around in.
yeah,
And I thought, and honestly, I kind of thought it was like a visual bug for a little bit, but it is on purpose, I think. And it's kind of just, it's really cool how the built environment kind of clashes with this like planet, this planet's atmosphere.
Hmm.
and the striking, there are a lot of blues and a lot of oranges, and they kind of naturally contrast against each other anyway. So a lot of the environments you're running around in really pop, and I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
Oh yeah. And like even later on, like when you get into that some of that green smog, it's like, oh wow, this looks really different. Things are looking kind of weird now. There are also like, especially in those mining levels, there's some really like dirty looking areas that still look fantastic. Kenny, how did you feel about the way this game looks, at least?
Brady kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
It is like a watercolor painting almost in a way, because it is like foggy. You also nailed too, Kevin. Like with the green, that was towards the end. It turns to green, and it's just that green really hit me good. I was like, whoa, okay, things
Yeah.
have definitely changed. The vibe has changed, and they do this game just overall does such a good job of just creating a vibe that a lot of with these games, I saw when it first booted up, it's Unreal Engine. A lot of these cheaper games have that quote unquote Unreal Engine look and feel to it. And this game absolutely does not have that. It is
Yeah.
very unique. It looks unique. It feels unique in its design. I love when you start a mission, it has that like Titanfall, like displays come like into the screen and connect, and then
Hmm.
you're in the husk. That happens. It feels like when you first start a mission, it feels like starting a mission in like Halo 3 and Halo 4. It has very Halo vibes to it. Newer Halo, I should say.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Definitely not 1 and 2, but 3, definitely 4-ish. It's very 4 Halo forward. Um, it just, it can definitely feel a little, you know, what's the right word for it? I mean, you can definitely feel like, oh, I feel like I've been to this area before. I feel like I've seen this before. It can definitely be a little repetitive at times, but
Yeah.
I do think they keep up with the colors and the lighting to change it up enough to make it feel more unique every time. I
Yeah,
think
it
it's
feels like there's a lot of matte plastic or matte finished metal everywhere, but
mhm.
it never uh, it doesn't get quite too stale. It's just that it's varied enough that it's just kind of like, oh, like, okay, this is the orange level, this is the green level, this is the blue level, whatever, and you get through that, and then you move on to the next chapter, and they're short enough to just make it feel very quick and fun, and it just doesn't get old right away.
Yep,
Yeah.
nailed it.
You also, just really quick, some of these environments, there's a like a zip line. The game wants you to look at it, right? So there are a lot of segments where you hop onto a zip line and you're kind of just floating there and traversing through the level, and you can look around and see, um, kind of touching on the story just one last time, like the whole station was built by corporations. Like they all found the mining operation, they saw massive dollar signs and put a bunch of money into building all of this.
Yeah.
But when it all fell apart, you see certain structures that are like half finished. You see the kind of floating billboards of, oh, this was built by X corporation, made in Poland,
Made in
which is
Poland.
fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where the studio's from, actually. So it's a nice kind of nod. Anyway, but you see like, it's kind of this half built environments, and then there was also an explosion. So you're wall running on kind of floating pieces of debris, and grapple hooking through exploded structures and that kind of thing. It's really striking.
Yeah. Yeah. And the sense of like you're riding on a roller coaster whenever you zip line is fantastic. Like it is just the immense amount of speed is exactly what I wanted out of BioShock Infinite. And
I
it
was
only
just gonna
took
say
like 10 years to get there.
I was going to say that. Yeah, this is Bioshock Infinite at the end of the day when it comes to the zip line. But I think it does a good job in variation, because there's actually like, it's not just you jump on the zip line and listen to a cutscene. It's like, no, like
Yeah.
you have to pay attention. If you don't, you got to change tracks. There's targets you got to shoot to open a door. And if you don't shoot in time, you hit the door. There's enemies that pop up. So it adds some variety throughout the game of just, it's not just a zip line and listen to some guy talk,
Yeah.
Did a good job.
Yeah. It's great.
might be able to see the vault from up there. Something is not right.
What do you mean? We're up and running.
Exactly. That's what bothers me. If it's going so well, why can't I shake this feeling that I'm heading into a trap?
Relax.
You also mentioned there being like a couple of these mining levels that are actually on the surface of Vulcan, and the game has you change into what like this ball form and roll through the environment as like a ball, and you have infinite ammo for like this like shock cattle prod weapon, and then you have rockets that shoot out of the ball. I felt like the whole ball section totally unnecessary. I felt like this could have been skipped and we could have had more shooting arenas or like more varied things. Really quickly, like Kenny, what did you think of the ball sections?
So I like the ball section, to be honest. I
Okay.
wish it was used more. I wrote in mission 2, all caps, there's a ball mode. I'm sold. Like, I think I agree with you that it wasn't necessary, but I also think the problem with it is they didn't push it forward enough. You know, towards the end, you only use ball mode twice. You use it in one mission, and then towards the end, you use it again. But at the second time, you go in and out of it many times. You have to jump in and out. And so it's really intuitive of how it's used. But the first time you use it, it's Halo 3, and you're in a ghost, essentially, that drives a little bit better. And that's all you're doing. You're just doing a Halo mission in a ghost. That's all it is. And like when I first was introduced, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. It's Halo. It's a ghost. This is cool as hell. I like that I can jump in and out. I can't wait for this to be used. And then it never gets used again outside of that one mission later on.
Yeah.
I'm like, what was the point of this?
In just chapters 2 and 6, and that's all you get for the ball. And you're probably right, where it would have been a lot more fun if they had included a lot more with it, rather than just like, oh, here are these 2 10-minute sections where you're playing as a ball. Brady, did you have any thoughts about it?
Okay. First, I did like the ball, especially the shock ability. In those sections, you're fighting a lot of enemies with armor, and just the electric shock just evaporates the armor. I thought in some instances it was actually easier to just do that than to hop back into person form and shoot the enemy.
Yeah.
But my one gripe is that they mapped it to the left stick. So you click the left on PlayStation, you click the left stick to turn into the ball, but that is the control for that even in missions that don't have the ball. So something a little more useful, perhaps, like there's a time slowing ability was mapped to kind of a random button, so I didn't use it as much. I actually had to switch those two.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I did like the ball a lot.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, like I also found a couple of things very, very odd happening in ball form, where like there were those sections that had these towers that would shoot a laser at you, and you had to shoot the eye of this laser for it to like shut down for 30 seconds, and in that time you escape. But you have to be in ball form at some points, because you have to, for some reason, roll through lava, and the ball can roll through lava. Asuka can't. But the ball can roll through lava. However, your cattle prod, the electric shock weapon, doesn't work when you're in the lava. And so you just have to run from these lasers. And they're so fast that it doesn't matter. You're going to get hit by them. So you just have to hope you have enough health to make it through this area. And, when I was trying to use the cattle prod in the lava, it would just shock the area around me. It was almost like the hit detection for this lava was interfering with the actual like cattle prod that was supposed to be shooting up out of it. So it was just like a weird technical bug that I don't know if anyone noticed that was happening. That was the only real gripe I had for the ball form kind of thing.
So that part, I just drove right past those towers.
Yeah.
I just did the sprint and went right past the towers in the ball form.
Yeah.
But you missed all the upgrade materials, Kenny.
Well, my upgrades got messed up anyways, and I'll discuss that at one point. But
yeah. Okay. Well, This is a good segue, Kenny. Like I did mention a bug that I was running into. You had quite a bug. Tell us what happened.
So I had a pretty when people say game breaking, this is truly game breaking. I at the end of mission 4, and I looked it up to confirm this was the end of the mission. I'm talking seconds before the mission ends. My entire computer crashed. And I'm like, oh no, like I'm gonna have to restart this whole mission again. Like, oh no, hopefully I'm not too far behind. And so my computer comes back, gets Steam going, load up the game, hit campaign. The moment I click campaign, the game crashes. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, oh no. And so I get back in. I'm like, okay, it's probably nothing, right? Same thing. Click campaign crashes. And it's a fatal error from Unreal Engine. I'm like, oh no. And I spent hours trying to get this working. My game was completely borked. I reinstalled it, deleted all the files, absolutely everything. I went over to my ROG Ally handheld, still would crash it. And I'm like, what? How is this possible? And then I realized my save got corrupted, then got uploaded to Steam Cloud. So I have a corrupt save in the cloud. So no matter where I play the game, it's still crashing. And so I had to turn off Steam Cloud, delete my local save, and then restart. And I'm like, I'm not restarting this game. So I ended up finding a 100% completion save online, used that, uploaded it to Steam Cloud. It grabbed it. It worked. Jumped into mission 5. I'm like, okay, not the end of the world. All of my settings reset. Video settings, controls, game settings, everything's reset. I had custom binds for my keyboard. Had to redo that. I'm like, all right, no problem. Start mission 5, and then I realized, wait a second. All of my abilities, upgrades are all reset. They're whatever this person chose. So all the choices that I was making in building were now this person's choices and what they were making, because there's nothing I could do. Thankfully, the person, what they were choosing and the build they were making was similar to what I made, but they also beat the game. So they had more abilities than what I was supposed to have at the time also.
Yeah.
So the last 4 missions, I didn't get to choose any abilities or even upgrade or anything because it was already basically done. So
I'm so sorry.
This sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I've messaged you, Kevin, being like, I don't know if I'm gonna review this. Like, I think I don't want to restart this. But
yeah,
I won't lie. I started mission 5, and then same thing happened again. Like I said at the start of the review, 20 minutes in, I'm zoned in. I'm having a blast. I totally forgot about what happened, and it's like I don't even care anymore. This is just so much fun. Screw it.
Yeah.
But that was a bummer.
Yeah, hopefully this does help a little bit, but the last upgrade you ever get in the game is halfway through mission 4, and so all the other upgrades that you unlock, you can unlock at any time, and they're just like progressive upgrades that build off of each other. You don't end up like finding new equipment after mission 4 at all. So you didn't really miss anything new to discover, but at the same time, you didn't get to choose what you unlocked, unfortunately. And that sounds like it sucks. So I'm sorry to hear that.
Fair enough. Yeah, it was just like this person chose the pistol that I didn't choose, and so I had to switch to that pistol. I was like, well, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Brady, did you run into... Yeah. Brady, did you have any bugs that you want to highlight?
Thankfully, not nearly as bad as that. But
okay.
I did run into some like smaller technical bugs. There are sections in some of the arenas where if you fall off, they kind of just reset you to the closest platform.
Yeah.
But I ran into an issue a few times where it wouldn't let me move immediately after that. So I would just stand there and get just beaten until I could finally move. So like 5 to 10 seconds of not being able to do anything.
Yeah.
Which isn't great. Oof. The game, so there is a mission select. It lets you go back and you can replay missions, get upgrades, and kind of grind out the upgrade materials, all of that.
Yeah.
I went back and I think it was actually mission 4. It was one of the Apex Core missions. So I was going back and I played through that one, and I played all the way through the mission and got the Apex Core at the end. I mentioned that because there's a counter that you can see where it's like 0 of 4, cores or
Yeah.
2 of 4 apex cores or whatever. At one point, my counter read 5 of 4.
Okay.
So
There's
I
not
had
5 in the
replayed
game.
there's not 5 in the game. So I had replayed the mission enough to where, and this wasn't at the end of the game either. So I replayed the mission enough to where I had more cores than I was supposed to at any point of the game. And on my first playthrough, I got to the end and I beat the final boss. And this is a trophy hunting issue more than anything, I guess, but there's a trophy for beating the final boss, and that did not unlock for
Oh
me.
no.
Oh,
Oh.
I replayed the mission, fought the boss again, won again, nothing. So I was like, what is going on? Luckily, I needed to go through again. I just went on a new save. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And it worked then. But I was like, what is happening? I've got 5 of 4 cores. I'm a few of the enemies just stopped a couple of times. And I did have a few game crashes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun experience to go through that boss fight not once but twice back to back and not get that trophy. But
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
as horrific as a corrupted save. Thankfully.
Okay. Yeah. I had a few game crashes myself. A couple of times it just quit automatically to the main menu in PlayStation, just quit out to the cross media bar. One time the game just hard froze and I had to force close the game. And then a couple of times I would like get to a platform or like an arena where there were a bunch of enemies running around, and I would jump on one particular platform and I wouldn't be able to jump off of that platform. Like I had to, I could move around, but for some reason I wasn't able to jump. And that was disorienting because my main strategy was to just jump around the arena and shoot everything and like deal with it as best I could. But movement was my main thing, and jumping was key to that. So yeah, there were some annoying bugs that popped up every now and then. There was also occasionally I would be fighting in an arena against a bunch of enemies or like an open hallway sort of area, and I would lose the fight and have to restart that checkpoint. And when I restarted the checkpoint, none of the enemies spawned in, and so I just walked past that area, and I wouldn't get the upgrade materials, but I also wouldn't have to do the fight. So I was just kind of like, okay, I'll just go and I'll get that currency later, whatever. So I understand. Like this game came from a small team out of Poland, and it is full of bugs. I appreciate that what they put together. It looks amazing and is a ton of fun to play. I hope they patch out some of these problems down the line because this game is really good when it comes to gameplay and how it feels.
Yeah, and to give them the benefit of the doubt, apparently last month they were updating this game like pretty recently. I think that's where we'll talk about the Gauntlet later, and
Yeah.
New Game Plus and a couple other things came from that. And apparently, immediately after that update, the cutscenes would just be black screens.
Oh no.
Like you wouldn't actually see them. And they went in and patched it. Just to
Yeah.
be clear, you do have cutscenes now that you can see. So if anyone's thinking about playing the game and kind of nervous about the bugs, I do think there's still at least some people working on this. So maybe
Yeah.
they'll patch it out.
Oh yeah. 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 It's still a work in progress. But hopefully things get fixed and it gets to be more accessible as the days go on. Kenny, so like you had to load in a new save. You said thankfully whoever was playing this earlier and uploaded their save chose some of the good weapons. That leads me to ask, what were some of your favorite upgrades to start with? Like, or we'll start with the upgrades, like the core upgrades. What were some of your favorite upgrades there?
Yeah, I can't think of anything specific. Unfortunately, I didn't really use. I think Brady you mentioned it too. I didn't really use the slow motion all that much. It was just a unique key on my keyboard that, quite frankly, I just never touched, and I kind of enjoyed it. How it, like, I'm a big fan of Killing Floor, and this has very big vibes of Killing Floor with the slow motion and the particle effects, and so um, I put a lot into the core aspect of it, the core mechanics of ripping the core out. Um, that was I don't know if that's like considered an upgrade. I know it's not really an upgrade per se, but I put all my upgrades into that for the most part because I
Yeah.
wanted as much out of that mechanic as I could because I just had so much fun with it. And it just created this like FPS ballerina movement of just jumping around, grab the core, throw it over here. It's just so much fun, that core mechanic. And so I just
Yeah.
put pretty much all of my upgrades into that for the most part.
Yeah. Did you typically try and throw it or consume it?
Well, it depends. That was what's so cool about it. It's like if you
Yeah.
need to get the armor down, you consume it and then you hit them with it. You
Hmm.
get the punch in, and that breaks their armor. But if let's say no one's around me with armor, or there's more guys without armor, then I'll consume it and then use those upgrades that I had, like giving me more damage or speed boost. There was one where it would they drop ammo, armor, and health if you do those upgrades with the core. And so
Yeah.
that's why I just put it all into the core because I was using it so much that I was getting all those abilities from the upgrades.
Yeah, and mine was the same. Where like I didn't pay attention to the slow mo thing. I didn't pay attention to the effect that you would get if you threw the core. I was just constantly trying to grab, like, tear out a core, eat it, and then punch something as much as I could. Tear out another core, eat it as much, and then punch something as much as I could, and just repeat that over and over and over. And that was my loop of running through the game.
Me too, to a T.
Yeah. Brady, how about you? Like, what did your build look like?
Yeah, that's interesting. I There are a lot of armored enemies in the game, and really the best way to take those on is by consuming a core and punching them to break the armor.
Yeah,
There is a gun, there's like an electric bolt gun that kind of also can melt through armor, but I really prioritized, especially on my brutal playthrough, I prioritized there's an upgrade you can get where breaking armor drops armor for you.
yeah,
And then there's another one where if you take a core out of somebody, they explode and can damage others and can actually break the armor of other enemies nearby. So that was really helpful for just, I could run around, break somebody's armor, pick up some of the armor, rip their core out, their friends blow up in the process, and then I can throw the core, and it blows up, and the particle effects. There are no like arcadey numbers popping up when you're doing damage, but it's such a that like dopamine hit
yeah,
of
Oh yeah.
you like rip the core out, they explode. There's like it's not a bloody game, but there's some sort of goop that comes out of these robot guys.
yeah.
There is
So you
blood
see
though.
that and
Yeah.
you like throw it over. Is
I don't know.
It
I know it's kind of
maybe it is.
strange.
it's a dark red liquid of some sort, and
It looks a lot.
it
Yeah.
is quite the fountain that pops up if especially if you use the pistol and you get a headshot. Like,
Oh,
oh wow, that was that was a lot of blood. But yeah, like and yeah, like all these upgrades sort of work together in tandem, and some do the same things, which is kind of redundant. But
mhm.
I did like try and focus on just punching as often as I could. I wanted to get the superpower to punch and use it as much as I could. There was even one upgrade that said you can use two punches, and I was like, "Oh, this is like double the damage. Great!" So I'm going to hit once and then jump back and hit again. It always felt so fantastic. But you mentioned weapons, and that one that is the cattle prod weapon is said on forums to be like the best weapon in the game. That's the one weapon you need for your brutal playthrough, and nothing else. What were some of your favorite weapons, and also your favorite upgrade changes that that you could unlock in this game, Brady?
So yeah, the cattle prod weapon's good. I'll say I have two. Sound design, well, the sound design for all of the guns is pretty good, but the SMG
Oh yeah.
is the first
Beat me
time you
to it.
pick that up and you fire it, and it is weighty and punchy, and things just go down pretty easily. That felt great. But my actual like favorite weapon, and it's such an odd one, was the pistol. And I mean, all of the weapons are good, but the pistol has an upgrade where you can lock on. It fires 3 homing missiles.
Yeah, I loved this one. Oh,
And you can upgrade it again to where if all 3 missiles, which again are homing, hit the same target, there's an explosion. And then I think there's one more upgrade that like increases the radius or increases the damage or something like that. That gun is a point and delete for
Yep.
a lot of the enemies in
cannon.
the
Yeah.
game.
that one was key.
Yeah, it is
for
amazing.
like early in the game when I tried to run it on brutal. The first time I played it, I got that upgrade, and then the second time when I was playing on brutal, I tried the other upgrade, and then I realized like, oh no, I need to switch back. I need to go back and grab this other pistol upgrade, because this one, it felt so overpowered. I need this for the harder run. And that 3 rocket burst, especially when you fully upgrade it, because at first it's just kind of like boom boom boom, and you really have to be careful where you're aiming to make sure all 3 of those rockets are headed toward the same enemy, because then they explode. But when you fully upgrade it, it's like boom boom boom, and it's so fast, and you're almost always guaranteed to hit the same enemy when all the rockets go flying at it. So it was one of my favorites too. I agree with you. You said you had 2 though.
Yeah, the second one was just on the sound design
Oh, right,
perspective
right.
of the SMG.
Yeah, the SMG.
Yeah, special shout out though to the grenade launcher, which on brutal is pretty necessary. I think.
Especially with that magnetic upgrade, that then the grenade's just attached to an enemy, and you're like, well, okay, great. That was my delete gun right there. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna take care of this one. No problem. Kenny, what were some of your favorite weapon upgrades?
So Brady nailed it. The SMG is by far my favorite weapon in the whole game. I wish
Yeah.
I had more ammo for it, because I would just use that the entire time. I mean, it's thuddy as hell. It's a 30 mag, and it feels so good to shoot. But my favorite part of it, this is like a dream come true to me. If you upgrade it, you can hold a right click, which turns it into a scope, which then turns it into a sniper. The right click is a sniper on an SMG, and it deletes armor. It's like you don't even need any other gun in the game. Just use right click to delete the armor, and then use left click to get rid of them. All you need is an SMG in this game. It's crazy. I mean, they don't give you enough, they don't give you enough ammo to do that, obviously, for good reasons, of course. Otherwise, that's all I'd use. But that right click is so satisfying. And I play a lot of FPS games. It's definitely my number one genre. And a lot of games use that scope on the right side of the gun. And so they tilt it to the side and then they zoom it in. And that animation can be so disorienting in games. It can be it can honestly cause some motion sickness. It can be very uncomfortable to use. That did not happen here. They did such a phenomenal job of that transition and the animation to the scope. It is so well done, because like you're moving around so fast, and in certain games, like I said, it can make you sick with that animation movement, and that does not happen here. I did not feel any sickness or trouble with it. It is so good being able to scope in, get a couple clicks, and then go back to the left click. It is so satisfying. And the other one is the one to the right of that, which is the plasma rifle. And those two, I'm not kidding, that's all I used pretty much the entire game. Once I got those two, that's all I did. It was plasma rifle to get rid of the armor, and it was the SMG to finish him off. That was pretty much the rest of the game for me.
That was exactly
Such
my
a satisfying
first
combo.
playthrough. Yeah, that was my first playthrough where I'd just be like, okay, like I always have the plasma rifle out, and anytime I see an enemy, that's what I start shooting with. And as soon as I know the armor's gone, I switch over to a different weapon and I take care of the rest. That's it. It's so easy.
And that loop is so satisfying, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The like plasma rifle, take the armor off, switch over to your grenade launcher, delete the enemy, rip a core out on the way.
Punch another one.
Once you get it. Yeah, exactly. I do think like the first couple of missions, it takes a little bit to get into the flow, but in the middle of the game, you're on autopilot at times, just running through people.
Yeah. And then with the plasma rifle, did you upgrade to like this force blast or the freeze blast?
Force blast. The freeze didn't interest me. The force blast was awesome, and I used it because that just destroyed armor and would kill him sometimes afterwards too. Even
Wow,
that just completely eliminated him.
Okay, that because like I went for the freeze, and I was like, well, I want to like all these guys are really annoying. I just want to stop them. I want to slow them down or stop them. I don't know how powerful the force blast is going to be, but I do know that a freeze is going to be helpful. So I'll go for that.
That's why
It really did help.
Sorry, I was just going to mention the grenades as well. Like the grenades can freeze people, and it really does speak to the rotisserie of weapon options that I think there are, 8 guns in the game, and we mentioned every single one of them, I think. Maybe minus the shotgun, but everything is viable.
I'm glad you said it.
Which is really impressive.
I loved the shotgun until I started using other weapons. And usually shotgun is like my go-to weapon for a game. And this time around, it was like, oh, all these other weapons feel so much better.
So I was going to ask you guys, what was your least favorite weapon? Because I was going to talk about the shotgun. Like you just said, when I first got it, I was like, oh, this is so satisfying. This is great. And then you get other weapons and you realize the shotgun's horrible. It's not really that viable.
Yeah.
Like it's not good. And it's a shame because it feels good, but it doesn't actually do enough damage, and the range is horrible.
Yeah, and also like its upgrades aren't great either. Like you shoot one that shoots out bouncing pellets, and that one I feel like I just wasn't in an enclosed space enough for that to be a good thing to have. And then the other one was a 3-round burst where like you'd load up 3 shots and then fire them all at once, but they didn't fire fast enough for me for that to feel like worthwhile as well, because firing it so slow, it didn't feel like it was slowing down an enemy or taking care of them when I really needed it.
Yep.
It's also close range, and the higher difficulties, if you're close to anything, you're probably not going to have a good time.
Warning. ISC unit inbound. Wave incoming. Third wave incoming.
Speaking of that, so either one of you guys, did you attempt a brutal difficulty run, which is the hardest difficulty in the game?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Not at all. Brady, how about you?
I tried it.
But yeah.
Okay, Kenny. Yeah.
Well,
how did it feel?
I think you'll like this, and I'll say that it's not as difficult. It's not like it turns into like a 9 out of 10 or something horrific or anything. But the flow of the brutal difficulty run for me was very reminiscent of the Dead Space 2 hard to the core run, in that it starts out, again, nowhere near as difficult. The similarities are that I felt like the start of the brutal run was much harder than the middle and the end. And that's kind of how I felt. Once you get some upgrades and all of that in Dead Space 2, it kind of, the playing field evens out a little bit until the end where you're just trying to stay alive. But I thought it was kind of similar, right? You have those Every enemy gets some like advanced tracking where they can tell the future and they're going to shoot where you're going. It took me a little bit to learn that that's what they were doing. Um,
Yeah.
Especially like early on, you have those enemies that kind of, I guess it's a shock. It shoots like the spread kind of in the line,
Yeah.
and those were kind of
Yeah.
difficult to avoid. But then you kind of get into those enemies that have the almost like the grenade launcher. They kind of lob the like glob of
Hmm.
goo at you or whatever that just melts through your armor. Um, yeah, those guys were pretty annoying. So it took a little bit to just, okay, I need to change direction more often. I need to go faster than what I'm going right now. And I need to really target a few like specific enemies in any encounter, and then I'll focus on the others. But by the end of the game, it was pretty. I had plenty of like what is it like extra life. I had plenty of 1-ups by the end of the game.
Yeah.
So the final boss on Brutal, I basically just threw lives at him until he went down.
Yeah. And like I feel like I was in the same boat with you where like I would run into those difficulty spikes, and the hardest one that I ran into was in chapter 2, where I got to that room that where they first introduced the guys that are the grenade launchers, and they somehow were just able to shoot in front of me and like almost always peg me right in the head with a grenade. But I ended up starting over and like backing out of the whole mission and saying like, okay, this mission's a wash. I'm going to go back and restart chapter 1 and earn more upgrades from that. And that's one thing that makes the brutal difficulty a lot easier, is that once you finish the mission, you can then go back and replay it with all of the stuff that you've already unlocked, and then you can earn more, and that makes the game easier. By the time you get to like chapter 4 and you're able to grab the cattle prod weapon, whatever it is that lets you be like a ghostbuster and shoot out a stream of electricity, that that particular weapon is very overpowered against armored enemies, and then it's also like somewhat overpowered against standard enemies too. So it just melts everything else, and that's why online everyone says like, "Oh, this is the only gun you need." I don't completely agree with that, but it is like a key piece to getting through the rest of the game. And like it, just so you know, like if it sounds really daunting to try a brutal run, don't worry, you can go back and replay those missions. And so sometimes I would feel like, okay, I'm kind of hitting a spike. I'll, instead of continuing and starting chapter 7, I'm going to go back and run chapter 4 again and add more into my grenade launcher, and then like come back and have even more power to go into chapter 7 or chapter 8, whatever. And that way I could feel like I was much more confident in running through these later chapters.
I was still
So,
scarred by the because I after the trophy didn't pop for the final boss, and again, this is like first world trophy hunter.
you didn't want to
Yeah,
risk
I
it.
was too worried to risk it, but I knew in fighting that bot, he has a laser that I just could not avoid towards the end. And
Yeah.
on a normal playthrough or an easy playthrough, I would imagine the laser's not too bad. You can kind of just tank the damage and you'd be okay. But I was really concerned
Hmm.
that on the brutal playthrough, it would be a real problem. So I did a really just cheesy thing, I guess. And I would, if I got into an encounter and I went down and had to use a 1-up, I would just reload the checkpoint and go back into
Oh
the
yeah.
fight and just do that until the encounter went the right way, I guess. I was just rewinding time, essentially,
Yeah.
just so I could save those 1-ups because like I mean I mentioned just throwing lives at the guy. He summons enemies and there are certain sections where you have to like wall run to the end under a certain amount of time. I was just worried on a brutal difficulty that I would not have fun. So I was trying to
Hmm.
stockpile as many lives as possible. So I would just reload the
Yeah.
save
Yeah.
unless I got like a certain distance into the encounter because it's kind of a wave based thing. You know, if I was on wave 3 and I went
Hmm.
down, I'd probably just keep going. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And we haven't mentioned this yet, but I love the automated voice that acts as like Asuka's UI that will announce like enemies are incoming or uh, like third wave coming in or like final wave, and she kind of just she has a particular voice that feels almost like this is a sports arena
Hmm.
where she's like trying to like cheer, almost be like your cheerleader, but she's not enthusiastic about it. She's just like announcing like here's what's coming next, and it feels like this is a dystopian like fight in front of an audience, and like that was just the feeling I got from it.
I
Either
like
one
that.
of you
Yeah,
guys like,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh, go ahead,
I
Kenny.
wrote that down though. I actually
Yeah,
wrote that down. Funny enough, I was like, when the wave parts drop and the announcer speaks, I wrote it's cheesy and very gamey, but I
yeah,
really love it because it brings me back to Unreal Tournament vibes.
yeah,
That's what it felt like, and this whole game has major Unreal Tournament vibes. Obviously,
yeah.
derivative of Doom, but that's what it felt like when the announcer was going. Like I kind of like this actually quite a bit.
Or like when the mission starts and she says updating mission objective. Give them
Exactly.
hell, Hyper.
I like it. It's cheesy, but I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
It would zoom in. It would say like ISC forces inbound when a new enemy type would show up, and it would kind of zoom in on the enemy, and they
Yes.
like yell at you or something. They do like a little emote before they try to kick your ass. Um, yeah, it was fun.
I
Yeah.
love that part.
Yeah. Okay, so like did either one of you guys try the gauntlet at all? That like this option showed up on my screen I think after I finished the game. And I was like, that's weird. Okay, try that out.
I did not know,
I
Okay.
but I saw it.
I did, but I was a little disappointed that they give you like you have access to all of the weapons, but they're not upgraded.
Yeah.
I think it would have been pretty cool if in that first little area you go to where you can I think there's a one up and then there's a store there. If you just had
Hmm.
like all of the upgrades unlocked and you could kind of just put your build together. Because I know that you were going through all of the encounters in the game. I mentioned rooms and hallways earlier. This is gauntlet mode is basically there are no hallways. It's just room after room after room. Um, which I did like. I think I got into mission 2 before I had enough. Um, but I don't know. To me, it would have been
Yeah.
cool if it had been we're going to make these rooms harder than what you would see in the base game, but we're going to give you all of the upgrades. So you have the full rotisserie. You can really make your build and go out and see how well you do instead of you get an
Hmm.
upgrade point after each. You're collecting the dust to improve your weapons and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I did like how they were just sort of not necessarily like drip feeding you these upgrades, but they were sort of just handing them out as you finished each arena. It would have been nice to just start the gauntlet run with like here's an allowance of what you can start with, and then you can start unlocking more as you fight through it. Because just starting from zero that first time wasn't great, and it didn't really give me that much of an incentive to feel like, oh, I could keep going with this. I just kind of like was like, okay, well, I have an idea of what this is, and I've just run through the arenas for the first chapter, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm good. I don't need to do this whole thing for the whole game. One other thing we didn't touch on really quick was just the music, and like as I just mentioned, like the music is pumping, like it is really good in those arenas, but running from hallway to hallway, it's really like cool electronic synthwave as well. And one point, Carrie, she was on the couch and like she wasn't really paying attention to what I was playing, but she just goes, "Oh, this game has good music." As it's like got some like ambient synthwave going on in the background. I think it was during the green area. Did that did get me to start listening to music that is very similar to this, and a lot of like electronica. Like an example is like the Annex that I started listening to more. I also listened to a lot more Gunship a lot more often because of this game. Um, was there anything that this game got you to start to like look at as far as other media goes? Kenny, how about you first?
So yeah, I was kind of
Yeah.
thinking about it. I mean, truthfully, not really. No.
Okay.
I liked the music. I think it was serviceable. It definitely worked for the game, without a doubt. It had my adrenaline pumping. It worked phenomenal for it. I don't think I could remember a single track right now. I couldn't hum one for you. I couldn't even remember a single track in my head right now, to be honest
No.
with you. So
No, it's all just environmental.
yeah, so like I want to say, like, I think that the music did a phenomenal job. I can't say it swayed me to like start looking at other stuff or move me in a way that made me want to listen to it or anything like that. Truthfully, it wasn't anything that I don't know. I don't want to talk bad about it because it was great. It was really good, but just didn't stick with me. I don't know.
It was really just there for atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brady, did you feel the same way?
I actually I put on I have a just like a playlist that I've compiled of different tracks that I encounter in games. I don't know if I mean I assume other people do that too, but I did actually go to the soundtrack for the game and just start listening to some of the songs, and
Nice.
it's really good. When you're running around ripping cores out and grenade launchering enemies, all of that stuff, it kind of goes into the background more. So it was nice to actually sit and kind of listen to what they've put together, the two people who came up
Yeah.
with the soundtrack. I do think Overclocked, if I had to like shout out a specific track, I think it was Overclocked. It's actually really good. But no, the music in the game is great.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is. It definitely adds more character to it, and like I said, it was much more for the atmosphere rather than like being attention grabbing in a sense. Just one other thing I wanted to shout out. So now that we've gone through everything that we can think of about the game, I want to ask you guys who should play Metal Eden, who should try this, and Kenny, I know you've got a big caveat with that, but just like who would you recommend this game to?
That's a tough one, if I'm being honest, because like on one hand, I want to say, it's accessible enough where, and it's small enough where I think if you have any interest in an FPS single player, like I think you should give this a try. With that said, though, it does kind of lean a little more on the hardcore side, though. I mean, it's not super difficult unless you bump it up to the top, difficulty. And I don't know. I don't know how to answer this, if I'm being honest with you, because I think like,
Okay.
because I could see someone who loves FPS games and plays a ton of FPS games going, I've already done this before. I've already seen this before. Because to be honest, everything in this game is not really unique per se. You can just go play Overkill or Doom or any other Doom 2016 clone. There's plenty of them. But at the same time, if you really love Doom and you love that style of shooter and you're just itching for something, like, I give this a try, because I do think it is unique, at least a little bit enough in that genre, that Doom genre, to, I think, pull you in. I mean, for example, I played Doom 2016, actually, funny enough, for the first time last year. And quite frankly, I think I had more fun with this from the core gameplay than I did with Doom 2016, if I'm being brutally honest.
Wow.
Like, this was fun as hell, like with the core, and the guns were a lot more satisfying. So my answer is if you love FPS games and you like Doom, at least just give it a shot. It's cheap. I got it for $10. It's normally $20, I think. Just try it. It's not doesn't overstay its welcome. If you look at it and you think it's interesting to you, I think just try it. Give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, and it definitely has its own style too, which I love. Like the stuff popping up on screen a lot of the time just made it feel a little bit like Marathon. And when I started it, I was thinking to myself, "Oh, this is the single player I wanted at a Marathon. All right, let's go." So like that, there was that at least. Brady, like, who would you recommend this game to?
Colin Colhoven should probably play this game. And people like him.
Colin, are you listening?
Yeah.
Please play this game. I've told him he would love this game. I asked him to be on the show to talk about this game, and he didn't have time because he just had a kid.
Right.
But yeah, like I was insisting that he try this game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd say I admittedly haven't played the new Doom games. My Doom experience ends at the like 1+2 bundle game that came out not too like a couple of years ago, I guess. But yeah, I'd say if you like arena shooters, if you like, there are like a few kind of Titanfall elements. So if you like that game and want a bite-sized weekend game kind of experience, I think, I think this could be for you.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, shout out to Titanfall that also has wall running and also has a grappling hook. And we haven't talked about the grappling hook in this game, but my God, it feels so good, especially flying around an arena. Man, that is like one of my favorite elements to this. But
it was so seamless. I forgot to mention it.
Yeah,
it's on a timer. Is the only thing that I don't like about it. Did you notice that?
Yes. Yes.
Well, it's not that the hook is on a timer; it's the grapple points themselves are on a timer. And so, what you want to do is just try and cycle through those as much as you can.
Yeah, the game really wants you to play this in a circle, I guess. Like, just keep moving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wall running, grappling, like, yeah.
Keep cycling weapons because they don't give you much spare ammo to carry. You know, it really is about changing your weapons constantly and also changing your strategy constantly. But yeah, like it is meant for speed. It's meant for like trying to have fun really quick and stay on your toes. Thinking back though, like I also want to throw out some recommendations for other games. And you guys might remember, but back in the 90s, any shooter that came out after Doom did, it was just referred to as a Doom clone. And Metal Eden is definitely a Doom clone for 2016. It's modeled after that year's Doom that came out, and I can see a lot of the DNA in this game from Doom. But are there other games that you can think of that have that same style? And I've got a couple on the tip of my tongue, but like Brady, can you think of any?
I'm going to really stretch the connection a little bit, but something that comes to mind is Roller Drome. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
it's like a Doom meets Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. You're in these.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So yeah,
You just got me
so
interested.
you are this woman on roller skates going around different arenas. It's kind of this like dystopian tournament that you're working your way through. And each arena, it's like a wave-based thing where you fight enemies. You have the same rotisserie of weapons. There are pickups on the field. And you get points for kills, but also for tricks. So the flow of the game is to kind of build your combo to get a larger score, to hit a certain there are score thresholds, and then there are also just other objectives for everything. So you're working through, and there's a slow-mo mechanic where you can kind of jump off a wall, do a flip, zoom in with your sniper rifle and hit a guy, and then grind on a rail and go kill other people. Talk about a flow state kind of game. That is a great example of just going unconscious and saying like, oh, I scored 3 million points by doing this and blowing up these people, and all. That's a really fun game. So
What's this called
Wow,
again?
good shout.
So
Roller
Roller
Drome.
Drome.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely trying this. There's no doubt. You just sold me.
It's pretty.
100%. You sold
Yeah.
me completely.
I picked it up and started playing it, and I think I was completely finished with it. And again, I'm a trophy hunter, so I'm doing the multiple playthroughs. I'm playing it way too much. I think I finished it in like 3 or 4 days. So it is
Wow.
very, very good.
It's stylish too.
Oh yeah,
Damn.
it has
Yeah.
it's not like a cell shading. Maybe it's kind of like a comic book almost. It's very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good looking.
Yeah. Okay, so Kenny, before you go buy Roller Drum, I want to ask you: are there any other games that you can think of that have that same style from Doom 2016?
You know, I have a lot more boomer shooter styles. I guess the closest would be Ultra Kill. I mentioned that earlier. Ultra Kill
Yeah.
is definitely a good example. It's a little more on the boomer shooter side, but I think it's good in between of 2016 and boomer shooter. Highly recommend if you want that flow state, just going for points and crazy combos. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Okay.
One I do want to shout out though, and I know it's a little more on the boomer shooter side, but it's still Doom. It's where it comes from. The best boomer shooter I've ever played in my life. It's called Fallen Aces. It's made by one guy. There's only one episode out. It took like 3 years just to get that one episode. But I'm not kidding when I tell you, I've played that episode 3 times already, and I'm probably going to go for a 4th. And I don't replay games ever. That game is phenomenal. It is the best single player level design of any game I've ever played in my life, and I stand by that. And I've played countless of FPS games for the past 20 plus years. I've never played a game with such variation like that, and it's only 5 missions in the first episode. Fallen Aces, I cannot recommend enough. It is a wonderful game.
That sounds really cool. I'm going to look that one up.
It's an immersive sim too, so
yeah,
very good.
Yeah. The only other one that I can think of that does have that same sort of like Doom style, and we're talking like fast shooting, fast running, glory kills, all that, is called Sun and Bone, and it's almost like someone said, "I want to take Doom and just make dinosaurs and cowboys, and like you're a cowboy who shoots a lot of dinosaurs. This is like another take on Turok Dinosaur Hunter." And let's throw the Doom formula at it. Another indie game that came out, I don't know, like 2021, I think, and I've had it on my wish list, and I've been eyeing it every once in a while, and thinking like, I could try that, but I'll go play some of the other stuff that I already own on my profile. But Sun and Bone is out there. If you tried Metal Eden and want more of that style, or want that style in maybe a different setting, give Sun and Bone a try. And Fallen Aces sounds really cool too. But I was about to ask you, are there other games that you want to recommend right now?
Well, it's kind of popular right now, but at the same time as I was playing through Metal Eden, I'm also playing through Mouse PI, and I'm just about to finish it. I can't recommend that game enough. Mouse PI for Hire. It's phenomenal. It is
nice.
A boomer shooter forward with immersive sim elements. Troy Baker's always phenomenal as always. I can't recommend the game enough. It reminds me of AAA PS2 style games with a hub world and the level design, and it's incredible. Can't recommend it.
I miss that style. I really do. Yeah. Brady, how about you?
Well, I am. If you play through Metal Eden and you think, man, I wish this was more of a bullet hell and a roguelike, then Saros might be for you. I'm I'm like 3 or 4 hours into it. I was playing last night and I died on the second boss, but I was pretty close, so shouldn't be too bad. That game is awesome. If you like Returnal, you're going to like Saros. If you liked Returnal but some quality of life things, I would wager that those have been sorted here. There's no like long run backs as far as, I have to go through biomes 1 and 2 to get through biome 3. That doesn't seem to be in this game. A lot of the I don't know. A lot of the quality. I just totally lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, but the quality of life stuff has improved. The game is gorgeous. It looks great. And it's some more sci-fi, what the heck is going on storytelling. So if you liked Returnal, I would recommend Saros. Both really good games. I think Housemarque did it again.
And Rahul
Nice.
Kohli.
Yes.
Can't go
Yeah.
wrong with Rahul Kohli.
Yeah. Kind of funny best friend out there.
Oh,
Okay. The only other recommendation that I have is for next month's game. And in June, that is going to be our community voted game from over in the Discord on Trophy Talk. And we have voted to play and talk about Skate Story. So we are going to be skating through hell as a demon. It is sort of like a psychedelic version of hell. It's going to be very interesting. I know nothing about this game aside from you just have a skateboard and you're a demon that has been made of glass and pain. That's just what it said. I don't know what that means. But we are going to be talking about Skate Story next month. So I hope you guys have some fun playing with that. Anything else that you want to plug right now? Kenny, again, tell us where people can find you if you want people to find you on socials, and any of those projects coming up, like your music that's going to be out soon.
Yep, you can just find me, search my name, Kenny Albanese. You'll find it. Just a quick Google search. Nice and easy.
Awesome.
Look for some fun music.
Yeah. And Brady, if anyone wants to get in touch with you.
Yeah, I'm FatePrime on Discord and Overrated Fate on PlayStation. Those are really the only two places that I participate in social media wise. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Yeah. And again, thank you both for talking about Metal Eden with me for an hour and a half. This has been a ton of fun. Thank you so much for playing it too, especially like getting through a lot of those very annoying bugs. And Kenny, especially, I'm very sorry about that one.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
I'm glad the game was fun. It didn't bother.
Yeah. But thank you, Brady, as well. Thank you for jumping on this pretty quick and playing it as well.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Okay. And anyone still listening, thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a great day. And please remember to be excellent to each other.
Mission objective updated. Give them hell,